Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Sunday, September the 4th, race number 10 at Kentucky Downs. It's the Grade 3 $750,000 Dueling Grounds Derby. 3-year-olds going a mile and 5/16 on the turf. We'll be back with the full preview after this brief message.
Want to view free Formulator past performances for this race? Head to the Race of the Day page at DRF.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel and bet this card with DRF Bets.
Here's the field for the Grade 3 Dueling Grounds Derby. Scan the QR code for Race of the Day access on your mobile device. And like just about every single one of these stakes races during the Kentucky Downs meet, Mike, it's a big field. It's a competitive group. It's a very tough race to handicap.
Yeah, it is. I felt like maybe more than anything else, Dan, the distance would really come into play here. I guess we'll just see who handles it best. I thought that there was, maybe a little filler in here, but there's also just a bunch of horses that you could sort of get yourself interested in.
12 entered in the body of the race. The 13 Western River, the 14 Camp David are also eligible. So we'll take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this race. And the 12 ready to perform likes to be forward, as he was in his most recent start when he wired them in the Hall of Fame. He is not a need the lead type, so if anyone else wants to go, that's perfectly fine. But he'll be close to the pace. He's also one of those horses getting a distance question.
Yeah, he's going to have to stretch it out here off of probably a career best performance in his most recent start, going a mile at Saratoga. He ran really well that day. We'll see if he can stretch it out. I suspect if he gets the distance, he could be pretty tough in here.
Although the number 1 Grand Sonata is a graded stakes winner at a middle distance, he won the Kitten's Joy with a nice pocket trip earlier this year at Gulfstream. He has performed well at these longer routes, like he did 2 starts back, only beaten a length in the Belmont Derby. What happened last time out at Saratoga?
He just didn't really fire his best shot there. I thought he lost a little position early in that race, but after that, he just never really made his presence felt. It was a little disappointing, but that was also just a really, really tough spot for this horse. So as you mentioned, he ran pretty well 2 starts back against some of those same horses, but all in all, I think those races are probably just a little too tough for him. I think he's a much better fit in this race. He's one of the horses I wasn't really worried about the distance at all.
Some angles for the 2, Tallahatchie Bridge, dirt to turf, Lasix off, blinkers on for trainer Safi Joseph. Ran okay in his most recent start on dirt. His turf lines look pretty promising, except for that race 3 starts back, the Autobahn going a mile and an eighth. I thought the trip was there for him. He tired very badly. Maybe just that Churchill Downs turf course, which a lot of horses didn't care for, worked against him.
Yeah, I think he's the kind of horse maybe you want to be a little forgiving of just for that performance. The 2 dirt starts are fine, actually, but there's a real chance that he's just better on this surface, Dan. He's a real rebound candidate in this race.
Always Above did win at Churchill Downs, the number 3 starts back going a long distance, a mile and 3/8. They tried him on dirt after that. He ran okay. And last time out at Colonial was a tough spot. He was the only 3-year-old in a race full of salty older horses, the Colonial Cup, a race that produced 1 next out winner, won the impressive jump winner snap decision. I guess he's a rebound candidate, especially if the pace is fast.
Yeah, I think he is too. I think that he's another one where the distance is fine for him. I mean, I thought his maiden win at Churchill was just okay, but it certainly showed that he can get a distance of ground. I get all the excuses for him last time. I also didn't necessarily love the trip that he got in there, trailing and then trying to come wide. But man, he's got a pretty poor running style, man. He's going to need to catch some breaks to beat this field.
The 4, Kitudan, the 5 Mount Rundle, they come out of the same stakes race at Ellis Park. Kitudan made a run into it, tired down along the inside. That race was a mile. He seems a little bit more effective at these slightly longer distances.
Yeah, I think stretching out could help him. I don't know, Dan. I can't say that he has that one turf race that I really like, and I just don't like that Ellis Park race that these 2 horses are coming out of. I didn't think either one of them ran particularly well there, and I just don't like that race overall.
And the 5 Mount Rundle, it's going to be his second start off a very, very short layoff. That race at Ellis was his first start against winners. Just really didn't fire his best shot that day, but a solid enough speed figure. He has some upside potential. Double Clutches, the 6th, third start off the layoff for Rusty Arnold. This horse tried to rally from out of it last time out in the Hall of Fame. He got wired by Ready to Perform.
He did, but I felt like that was the kind of race where even though the winner went wire to wire, I thought the pace was pretty solid in there. I didn't think it was necessarily a huge excuse for the horses trying to rally. This horse ran fine. If I'm being honest, I thought he would have run better than that. I did like his prior 3 turf starts, so I'd be willing to give him the chance to rebound here and run a better race. I just don't know about the distance for this guy.
We'll find out. He's by Optimizer, who was a good longer distance horse. Of course, Optimizer, a son of English Channel, a turf champion that really liked to go long. Running B is the number 7, lightly raced son of English Channel, trained by Chad Brown. Let's watch Running B's maiden win. Last time out at Saratoga about 25 days ago. He got a pretty decent trip, sitting close to the pace. He takes the front, and he is on his way. He was expected to run very well as the favorite in this race. He did. He keeps getting better.
Yeah, he does. He got a great trip in here. I'm not sure that this was the greatest field in the world either. He ran fine. Obviously, he wins very easily. A couple of these horses that are, sort of well behind him at the finish there, Dan, a couple of them have already run back. Didn't necessarily flatter that performance. I don't know. He could win here. I'll probably use him somewhere, but it feels like he could take money as well, and I wouldn't want too short a price on him.
Steve Asmussen sends out the number 8, Red Run. He's a stakes winner at 1 mile, although he got a nice pace to run at in that Texas Turf Mile in his first start as a 3-year-old. Asmussen dropped him into a 3 life last time out at Ellis Park, and he was a lot closer to the pace. He had to be. The pace was just glacial. He didn't really kick on. The 4th place horse came back to run 3rd in an allowance race at Indiana with an 81. All of a sudden, this horse has to prove a lot of things. Can he be as effective stretching out as he's been at middle distances? Will he get the right trip? And is he just not pan out?
Yeah, I just don't know if this horse is actually any good. Here's his most recent start where you mentioned that they dropped him. He's relatively close to a pretty slow pace here, and he just doesn't really finish that hard. This is not a good performance. And as you've already pointed out, he's got the one stakes win on turf where he just took advantage of circumstance. I mean, maybe he'll do that again in this race, but I found it hard to like this horse.
The number 9 is Dripping Gold. Chig McGahee, Julien Leperoux coming down from Saratoga off this effort. A runner-up performance going 1 mile and 3/16. This is a first-level allowance, and the pace wasn't fast in this race, and he got up close. He has the tactical speed to do so. He has a big look at this, Mike. First-time blinkers, and he runs okay to be second.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly did run okay here. It was a step in the right direction. I guess we'll say that. It does feel like maybe he's sort of racing himself into shape now as a 3-year-old. I guess the flip side of that, Dan, is if he was, really a stakes horse at this point, he probably would have won this race. I don't know. He's pretty good. I guess he could factor in here. I'm not worried about the distance with him. I would have liked to have seen him get the job done there in that race we just watched, though.
The 10 is Speaking Scout. He's going dirt to turf. His most recent turf start came 2 back in the Kent at Delaware. He didn't have a good trip in this race. He got bumped around at the start. The horse on the lead was able to wire the field. And as you see, he's been buried in this position since midway on the second turn. And by the time he finally does get out in the stretch, the ball game's over.
Yeah, he had no chance here. So I guess what you have to do, Dan, is go back to his prior turf races and sort of ask yourself if any one of those performances make you want to bet him back in this race. Personally, his other races didn't make me want to bet him back, but I understand the case that could be made for him.
Russian Tank is the number 11. This horse scored at Mountaineer, going 7 furlongs last time out. He was game to win in the stretch, but it was slow time. Now he has to step way up in class, stretch way out in distance. These connections have pulled off upsets in the past, however.
They have, and I sort of felt like the more I looked at him that they would just go in this race and probably try to put this horse on the lead. I don't think it's going to matter.
Ready Perform, the 12, was a useful 2-year-old for Brad Cox. I still think there was a question coming into this year how good he is, because the Laurel Futurity, when he won his second lifetime start, weak field, he got a great setup from off the pace. He seems to be slowly improving. He got another nice trip and ride under Paul Rosario to win this race, the Hall of Fame going 1 mile. He was able to make the lead. No one was really interested in going for it, so Rosario took it. I like the way Ready to Perform kicks clear the final 16th of a mile. Career best 92 buyer. The runner-up came back to earn a 95 when he won his next start. The better talk now. He's tactical enough to work out a trip. How is he going to handle this quirky course and extra distance? That's the big question.
Yeah, those are very big questions for a horse who's 3-1 on the morning line, but he certainly ran well in that race that we just watched. I like that performance from him. His prior 2 races are both fine as well. I thought his Murphy was just a performance where, it was a layoff, so I'm willing to be forgiven. He probably could have won that race, though. He had a really good trip. 2 back, he was just no match for Annapolis, but Annapolis is a really good horse.
The 13, Western River, is also eligible. He is winless on the turf. The 14 is Camp David. This would be his turf debut after selling for $130,000 at public auction. Before we get to our top picks, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for all the latest DRF TV Video offerings, wide open race at Kentucky Downs for our Sunday race of the day. Grand Sonata, Todd Pletcher, Tyler Gaffalione. This horse has shown ability in the past, and his price might be okay, Mike, after that last running line, which frankly doesn't look very good.
That was the deciding factor for me. I just feel like he's a horse who's good enough to win here. He's probably not going to take too much money. I wasn't worried about the distance at all with him. So I'm going to take him on top and hope he rebounds here.
I'm going to go with Ready to Perform. I think this horse is rounding back into form. The price may not be very enticing, but none of these horses have won at Kentucky Downs yet, so they all have the same course question, at least, to answer. Mike's going 112.76. I'll go Ready to Perform. It's the Grade 3 Dueling Grounds Derby, your DRF race of the day for Sunday. Good luck.